Well, in order to get to the next level, God has created a path for you that you need to push through and overcome the objections.
Hello?
Maurice?
Yes.
Hey, brother. Good morning. This is Chris Silva. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for asking. How's your morning going?
Slow, rainy.
It's slow and rainy. Oh, where are you at right now?
I live in Northwest Arkansas.
Arkansas. Oh, wow. It's raining out there? Cold?
No, not cold, just rainy.
Just
It
rainy?
started raining a little while ago, and just a good, dreary morning.
Ah, I see. Have you been out there your whole life, or
Yes. No, no,
you originally from El Paso?
no, huh? My mother moved to El Paso years ago, and I've lived there, and I've lived other places, but I've lived here for a number of years.
Oh, okay. You ever thinking about coming back to El Paso?
Mm-mm.
You're like, no, for sure not.
No, no. Don't ever want to come back to El Paso to live.
I see. Do you still have family out here, or not? No one. Everybody's gone.
No, not anymore. No.
Not anymore.
Yep.
Well, that's good, man. Well, you never need to come back then. Then you never need to come back to El Paso.
That's good. Yep.
That's good. That's good. So talk to me about this house. Melina was telling me that you're kind of obviously you don't want to come back, so this isn't something you want to keep. From my understanding, this was your mother's house.
Well, we've had a number of problems with. It was my mother's house.
Okay.
My mother passed away. House was in probate, and we had just problems with the mortgage company with them, and fighting with them ever since day one when my mother passed away, and basically them just breaking the law, not doing what they're supposed to, not allowing us to do what we're supposed to, and just tired of dealing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's the mortgage company?
I don't know who let me see, the company that's servicing the loan, I think, is Shell Point,
Okay.
It was Ditech. Ditech filed bankruptcy, and it went into receivership, and it left there and went over to Shell Point at some point. And they haven't been any better. They really haven't been much better. They just want to wash their hands of the whole thing, I think.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And is it just more you guys were having trouble like with D-transfer or paying it, or Shell Point wasn't accepting the payments? Because I know Shell Point has done that in the past, like stop accepting payments.
Oh, no, Ditech did that. They wouldn't accept payments for years.
Oh, shoot.
They and even when Shell Point took it over, they just wouldn't accept payments. They wouldn't even speak to me. They acted like, sorry, you're not authorized. You know who you are. We can't talk to you. Even though they received all the papers from the court, they just went through all this. So I'm tired of having the house there and having to deal with all that, because we still keep utilities, we still keep it maintained, and it's just a lot to have to deal with. It's 1,000 miles from us.
I was about to say, especially the distance, no? Even aren't you pretty far?
Yeah, it's 900 miles, just over 900 miles. But we're just gonna, as much as I would like to keep the house, rent it out, do all that kind of stuff, I'm just tired of it. And if we can let the house go, and we'll deal with the lawsuits with the mortgage companies and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think as long as, we could just get a payoff from them, because obviously there's still a mortgage on the house, right?
Yeah.
Do you know if it was a reverse mortgage or a conventional?
No, just a regular mortgage.
Just a regular mortgage? Well then, ideally, if we could get a payoff from them, which I'm pretty sure if the court's giving you guys some sort of, whether it be death certificate or power of attorney, or there's something there. Because you said you guys already went through probate?
Oh, yeah, it's all. I've got all the letters testamentary, and I'm the executive of the estate, and I'm the heir, and, all of that. That's all done. But the mortgage company still has, they don't deal with me, but they at least recognize to talk to me is what they've done. And they've done just all kinds of screwy stuff over the years. Let's see, in 2020, I want to say 2020, we filed the foreclosure on the house, and they filed fraudulent papers on the house. They didn't file it to probate court. They didn't. They said there was almost $1 million owed on the house. They had affidavits from people in there who said that, yeah, we spoke to Mrs. Green, my mother, like in September, And I'm like, my mother was dead for like when they put on there his affidavit when he says he spoke to her. My mother had been deceased for 20 months, almost 2 years. But they actually did put affidavits in there that they had spoken with her about things, and and they hadn't. So there was all kinds of illegal stuff that they tried to do and tried to push past the court. And then to get their foreclosure, when you look through the papers, there's filings in 4 different states to get, they get part of it here, part of it there, part of it here, and then put it all together. And it was just a big mess that they tried to do, So it's just not something that they did properly or have done properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this. Do you have any siblings that are kind of involved in all this?
No, no.
No, because what I'm also thinking is maybe someone called and tried to talk on behalf of your mother, like pretending to be her. But then again, you never know whether the bank and the banks, I mean, you'll be surprised what banks do nowadays.
I know. Well, like I said, they tried to say there was almost $1 million, $980,000 owed on the house or something when they filed papers, and they put that all through the papers. So it's clear that they did nothing but and they did all these inflammatory things to encourage the judges or whoever to sign this to get this to make it look like it was something more than it really was. That they were so injured that we need to recover our money, and and they really weren't. So. But the whole thing of this is a problem of their own making. They had allowed us to just continue making mortgage payments while the probate went on, instead of ignoring everybody. And even then, they have a legal right. There's a federal law, and they have to, even if you don't have another testamentary, they still are supposed to allow next of kin to make payments and to at least maintain the property, and they still have to communicate with next of kin by federal law. They didn't do any of that.
Dang, that's crazy. So I'm assuming they still haven't even accepted no payments, huh?
No, they still won't. Even though they will talk to me a little bit, they still won't accept payments from me. They say they want payments, but they won't. They won't take anything. So
that's crazy.
I don't.
Do you know how much is owed?
Yeah, currently I think it's like 160, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, and see, they try to take this up to $1 million. You're telling me I owe 160, and now you're gonna say I'm behind $950,000. I call BS.
Oh no, but this is what they say. Mm-hmm. This is what they say is the arrearage, and that's not correct because I have different numbers, and those numbers come from them. But at the time, the house was only owed like $83,000 on the house.
That's crazy. So I guess and instead of dealing with that, I mean, you decided that basically you just kind of want to offload this then, huh?
See that? I'm just going to let them take the house, and we're just going to to proceed with the lawsuit.
Okay. Well, so
take it as a loss.
They're trying to sue you guys? Or
the lawsuit. Or no, we're suing them.
Ah, I see.
We're suing them.
I see.
We're going to proceed with the lawsuit against them for, suffering and punitive damages and all the in-betweens that go with a breach contract and violations of federal law and violation of probate law, and there's a dozen different things that we're suing for.
Yeah, absolutely. But, and do you have an attorney that you're working with already? Because I know a few good attorneys here in town that I could probably shoot your way.
Oh, I'd very much like to have a good attorney in town. I mean, there aren't any in Texas for the most part. I've given up even finding an attorney in Texas.
Yeah, no, I have a few, and then I'm even thinking this would probably be someone that even a title company attorney would be good for this case. I mean, if this is something that you really want to go after, but I could shoot you. I could shoot you I could shoot you a few numbers and see, and you could kind of interview them and see what your thoughts are on that. But at the end of the day, I totally understand what you're saying when it comes to that. It's just the banks, especially the servicing department, because the servicing department is kind of like the third party, so they're not necessarily the mortgage, but they're the ones that kind of avoid you from doing anything, and it's kind of hard to kind of loop back and forth. And I mean, I see this all the time, and I hear people in the same position. It's like they're not letting me make payments, and this isn't the first time I've heard of someone like that or something like that. And it's like, why not? And from my understanding, the bank's not in the business of owning real estate, but see, they'll do the most.
Well, I don't even know exactly who owns the house. The servicer doesn't own.
No,
the servicer is just the more, who you think of as a mortgage company
Mm-hmm.
in like Ditech or that, they're not the ones who actually own the home. You know, it's like Wells Fargo or one of the big banks that own the house.
So what I'm seeing is the
And
loan actually got sold off. So usually the bigger banks, what they do is they sell them on the secondary market, and the person that has the lender that has it is Highland Capital. I'm looking at it up right now. So I mean, it's just did that name sound
I think that's the parent company of Shell Point that's the mortgage servicer. They don't own it. This is the problem: is it runs through 2 or 3 or 4 different companies to get to the real owner. I've tried to look, and I just keep finding more people.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is kind of, and I could see why you want to get rid of this headache.
I think it was Capital Bank that we dealt with like last year and tried to file papers for relief on the house then, and I don't know. We'll see what we do with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not too sure. Melina told you a little bit about myself. I'm in the business of buying real estate. So for me, I either buy real estate for one or two reasons, whether I fix and flip it or I buy and hold it. For the most part, I look at these as long plays. So for me, it's kind of a longevity game. More, I look at this for like 10, 15 years holding it. Like kind of like you, and that's why I was asking, like, why don't you guys turn it into a rental property? But ideally for you, it's just kind of just become a headache.
It has, and it'd be different if they would actually talk to me and deal with us, but they won't, and they're just of the opinion that you owe us money, and I'm like, I don't know anything if you won't let me make a payment. If you refuse payment, that's up to you. It's not up to me. If you refuse to accept any payments, then you can't say I'm liable for the payment. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's like, 6 years of payments on there that I'm not liable for because you people wouldn't even accept, well, even longer than that now. 8 years long payments that you won't accept. So, too bad.
Yeah. And I think
if you won't accept payments, you can't expect to get payments. Can't bill for payments if you won't accept the payment on it. So, well, I mean, that's basically what they did. They did this, and I think they did this with the intention of trying to take away the house, knowing that the mortgage was 50% paid off. The house was worth twice what was owed on the house. And they did it with the intention of taking away the house, basically. So.
And here we are. They're still not going to get back the house. That's too funny.
Yeah, well, it's come down to that. We've talked about suing for that we want the house and that they should give up the house plus $10 million. So.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So going back to, is it you that's basically the primary decision maker, or is it only you, or do you have brothers and sisters involved, or?
Yeah, just me.
Just you?
No, just me.
Okay, cool. So let me ask you this. When was the last time that you actually saw the house?
I don't know. I haven't been down to Paso in over a year and a half. I have a neighbor who keeps track. He keeps the yard mowed and cleaned, and he sends me pictures all the time of the house. So
has the property been vacant for several years now?
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, all utilities are still on. Like I said, he keeps track of the yard and all that. So.
And you guys just had never decided to rent it out, like meanwhile, where you were handling it, or when was the last time like the property was actually occupied?
I don't know. I mean, I was coming and going for a while in there.
Ah, I see.
On I was down there every couple of weeks for a number of years, and things have gotten hectic here. I just think it's time to get away.
Yeah. Okay. So I was able to drive by the property and check it out from the outside, but I never saw any pictures on the inside, which is okay. Typically, I buy houses sight unseen for the most part, especially thankfully this one's here in town. However, when I buy out of town, I really don't walk or see these properties. Do you know kind of what the condition of the inside is as far as like upgrades and stuff like that? Like, or is it still dated? Is it still like original carpet? Original cabinets?
No, the carpet's been taken out.
Okay.
And that's been a store in there for a long time. That's been taken out, and we started replacing it with a wood laminate flooring. And the sun installed, and the rest is all piled in the garage in boxes. It's all brand new in the boxes in the garage, ready to be installed. My mother used to repaint the house regularly, like every 3 years. House used to get painted inside and out. So I don't know I know the garage door looks like it's peeling quite a bit now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's washer, dryer, refrigerator that would go with the house. We don't want those. The overall interior, the house has been, countertop sinks, that kind of stuff. All that's been replaced. It's had new fixtures over the years. I mean, she's upgraded things as she's gone along, and she's to keep the house in very nice condition. So, right now it's probably Jean's clean. So that's the biggest thing you probably need.
Okay. When you say countertops were replaced, are they granite now or quartz or for mics?
I don't know. No, they're not granite.
They're not granite. Okay.
I don't know when they were replaced.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And then as far as the restrooms, are they still like the old school tile, or was that ever taken out? Are they like the pink or green?
Tile?
Yeah.
Like on the wall?
Yeah, like on the wall. You know how the older
No, no
homes.
tile on the wall. No tile on the walls. The bathrooms are painted.
Okay. Popcorn ceilings.
I think for most of the house, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all been painted over.
Okay.
So it's all
Then
sealed in pretty
I
well.
had seen when I had passed by, some of the shingles were kind of falling. When was the last time the roof was replaced? Do you know?
Shingles are falling?
Yeah,
I look at it and see.
yeah. There's like a few pieces that were kind of like crooked. So that's why I wanted to ask. Do you know when the last time the roof was like maintenance or repaired?
Right from my mother passed away, she had brand new roof put on.
Okay. And how long was ago? Was that?
That roof was in like 9 years, maybe 8, 9 years.
9 years, and then yeah, I saw that it was evap as well, evap air, and then windows. No, I'm trying to remember. There was no. The windows are still the original windows, correct?
Yeah, aluminum paint.
And by any chance, have you personally gotten any quotes on any upgrades, like the refrigerated air or the windows or countertops or any type of upgrades or quotes that you've gotten?
No, I haven't got anything like that.
Okay, cool. And I'm just trying to. I know they had told me that you have the keys and that you wanted to come down, but I'm like, there's really no reason why you need to come down if we're able to if I'm able just to kind of get a visual just based on our conversation, especially 1,000 miles.
Well, I'm probably going to be down. I'm going to be down there anyway. I'm going to come down. I've got to get. I need to finish getting some stuff out of the house. So.
I see. Do you have a tentative date when you plan on coming down?
Not as yet. I need to figure out how I'm doing stuff here, what vehicle I'm taking down and all that stuff. So.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, if we were able to come up with something today, how soon would you want to close? 30, 45, 60 days? Like, how soon are you looking to move on this?
Oh, we could close immediately. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Okay, so typically our closings take about 30 days. Sometimes it could be a lot sooner, just depending as far as pictures, getting access and stuff like that. I know you're saying you're planning on coming down, so I mean, we could ideally just schedule something, see what we could do to make it work, or you could even probably mail out the keys and we could just put it on a lockbox, so that way the neighbor and yourself will have access in case the neighbor does need access.
No, they don't need access for it.
Let me ask you this on the plumbing: is it still the cast iron, or do you know if that was ever upgraded? Because that's a big thing right there.
It was never cast iron. It's all copper.
It's all copper. Okay, cool. And then
there was never any cast iron in the house. Houses got old.
Was 1977?
They just make cast iron plumbing.
Or 1975 or something. Okay, 79. Yeah, you're right.
No, they stopped using cast iron plumbing in like 1962. It leaches lead into the piping. So they pretty much stopped using iron piping a lot of years ago.
Have you ever had a problem or purchased a house with something like that with the cast iron?
Have I ever been in a house?
No,
with like cast iron plumbing. Yeah.
Like no, have you ever had to replace that by any chance? It's the worst thing ever.
Plumbing
it's the worst.
In this house?
No, just in general. I'm asking if you've ever had a problem with cast iron in the past.
Oh, I mean, I've seen houses that have had it. Well, I myself haven't had to do it, but I've seen houses that have had to have where the pipes begin to get finally old. They just have to start replacing it.
It's the worst.
It's a major job.
Yeah, it's the worst thing ever. I mean, that's happened to me more than once. It will never happen to me again. I always tell myself, never happen to me again.
The house is copper. It's sprinkler's been installed, and that. Like I said, that's where it taps in, and it's copper piping. It comes out of the walls. It's copper piping,
Okay, cool. And then let me see. Yeah, but like I said, I'm very interested in it. I know Melina said that you did have a price in mind. Ideally, if there's no closing costs, if I were to take care of all closing costs, no fees, no commission, none of that good stuff. Ideally, what was it that you were trying to net on this
We like to have the house for 180,
for 180?
which is still below. That's even below the appraised value on the house.
Okay. Do you know what the appraised value is?
2 years ago it was 181.
Pulling it up right now. So CAD has it at 181 in 2023.
Oh,
Yeah, 181,958. Okay. So typically, just to kind of give you just a rule of thumb for myself when I look at something to fix and flip, is I go price per square foot, just depending on how big the house is. Based on our conversation and it just sounds like it's gonna probably need to be brought up to 2024 standards. What I mean by that is probably maintenance on the roof, the refrigerated air, the windows, countertops, flooring. I know you said you guys put vinyl flooring. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how dated it is or how upgraded it is. That's just kind of stuff that I'm kind of accounting for. But ideally on this, I'm probably looking at about $35 to $45 a square foot. On the low end, $35 a square foot. I'm thinking I'm probably going to be in about $45,000 on this. And just kind of for me, it seems like the price point is too high at the 180, just because especially as a fix and flip, if I'm gonna keep it, I probably won't recoup my money if I put in the 40 at 180. This house is probably worth maybe 210 fixed up 2024 standards. However, I know you said how much do you owe? How much is still owed on the bank with arrears and all that? You said 120, 130? Is it the original note was 80, right? 160. So ideally you're trying to at least make 20, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Now let me ask you this: if I were to be able to cash out the bank, would you be open to seller financing me that $20,000 until I'm done with the remodel? I cash out. You tie a note against the property. Your protection is going to be the asset. Well, I go in there, I fix it up, I do what I got to do.
I mean, yeah, we could be, we can work out something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is,
Like I said, just basically, we're looking at suing the bank over what they did, the mortgage companies, the bank over what they did with the violations through probate and federal law and everything that they did, basically costing us. We're looking at it as a loss, basically, that they. You were talking about why we rented it out. Well, technically, it's still in probate. It's not in my name, and they won't talk to me enough to put it in my name. It's still in my mother's name. So I can't. If I go rent it out and something happens, then I can get in a lot of trouble. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And because my mother is deceased, renting out a property as the executor is not kosher. The government doesn't look kindly on that. That looks like you're basically it's fast and loose with assets. You're not putting them in your name. You're not paying the taxes on them, and you're trying to rent them out and leave them in this person's name. You get into trouble for that shit. That's tax evasion and violations of federal laws, it's violations of the state laws. You get in a lot of trouble doing stuff like that. So until they let me put it in my name, I can't do anything really with the property. All we're doing is we maintain it. We're paying utilities, we're paying to have the yard done and cleaned, and
throwing money into it, throwing money away.
Basically, when you look at El Paso, okay, to have basic water service, water, sewer, garbage, the basics with no water usage, nothing being done. The same with the electric, same with gas. Basically, you're looking at $70, $76 a month in the water. You're looking at $32 a month in electric with no service being used. Maybe a porch light on. That's it. Not enough to even meet the basic minimums, And then you've got gas, same thing. You're looking at like $27 a month just to keep gas service at the house. Then you $36 a month for the alarm system. By the time you're into it, we're into a couple of $100 a month, and then you got to maintain the yard. Now, you're looking at you're
That's
basically you're looking at like
$2,500 a year.
$400 to $500 a month.
That's 2,500
Yeah,
bucks.
that's
That's 2,500 bucks a year. That's gas
yeah.
right there in a vehicle, especially where this economy's at today.
Well, for what we pay, for what we've been paying to maintain that property, I
Mm-hmm.
could be renting an apartment
I
up
believe it.
near my wife's family in Virginia, and I mean, we could maintain an apartment somewhere for what we're paying for that. I mean, it's basically almost $500 a month, and we get no benefit of it. And that's the whole point is that the mortgage company has cost us this all this time, plus doing repairs or whatever else we've done to the house during that time. So it just comes down to, they cost us a lot of money and not allow me to do anything with the house. They won't allow me to transfer it to my name. They won't allow me to sell it. We had a seller. We had a seller for this house back in, I want to say 2018 or 2019. 2018? 2018. I had a seller for that. I had a buyer for the house. A friend of mine, she wanted to get out of her house that she had for years, and they wanted to buy a new house. I was willing to sell it to them for just barely what was owed on the house, as a friend, give it to them and let them do what they need to do with it. And the mortgage company wouldn't talk to me. So hey, they just said, you're not authorized. We're not allowed to speak to you. So, and that's what I got for years. Years and years and years. Then they changed companies and they still continue with the same thing. And, so there were clear violations all the way around. But, I didn't want to get into trouble, like I said, doing trying to rent it out or do anything like that. And just becoming problems and everything, and then on top of things, as I said, when they tried to foreclose years ago, and they did all these, basically the papers are fiction from beginning to end. The whole suit that they filed is just
Hello,
fiction.
hello, hello.
There's no truth.
This is where you build the trust. This is where the trust is built. You let him talk. You let him talk. He's excited to talk. I can literally have lunch right now, breakfast, and he's gonna keep talking. And a lot of times, people, you guys get caught up in trying to oversell. We can't oversell somebody.
It's one of those type of, uh, and, I know you were saying you have, lawyers in El Paso, but I'd rather just show up here.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And, and we just serve in federal court because they violated federal law. And because they operate across state lines, we can file in federal court against them.
And it's within like a certain mileage, also. No, isn't it like the farther it is, the more state lines that are crossed or something like that, or the farther? I'm not too sure exactly how it works.
Well, and then on top of that, here I was driving back and forth to maintain the house. I was down there at least first couple of years, every 3 weeks, I was at least there for several, 3, 4 days, every 3 weeks. And it's a lot of miles, it's a lot of gas, and it's a lot of time, So, they act like, there's no one there. I've got everything documented. I mean, I'm one of those people who keeps everything. So every trip I made to El Paso, for every expense I spent, gas, food, lodgings, everything, all of that I kept. And I keep them specifically per trip. So, when it comes time to total up all that, we've got all that stuff. And then you got to think about time. I'm a mechanic. I make $50 an hour. And for me to be not here working, that's a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So, my rates are really reasonable. I run shop, and that's just my time. That's not shop time. You know, if I run it as shop time, they're looking at $100 an hour for every hour I'm away from here. 72 to 100 hours at a time. It's a lot of money real quick. $10,000 every trip in labor to go down there. So I'm being real reasonable about it. But like I said, we'll see what we can do. And I mean, I'm open to if we can cash out of the bank and work out something like that. We can do something like that. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, that works. So ideally, our next.
And like I said, I'm gonna have to contact mortgage company, and I'm gonna have to see what the servicer, and I'm gonna have to see what it's gonna even talk to me anymore. And see what they're gonna say.
Well, see, I think that's the best part about this is like So everything goes through a title company. So the next steps are basically very, very simple. It's just we draft up an agreement that I'm purchasing it. We send that agreement over to the title company. The title company, what they're going to do is they're going to call you asking you for information based on the bank, or our transaction coordinator is going to give you a call and ask you for the information for the bank. And then what happens is the title company will then reach out to the bank themselves. Now, basically, the title company is going to handle the communication between all that. Now, if there's something that they might need from you, then they'll reach out to you, documents and all that good
We
stuff.
tried this. The thing is, we tried this laptop, and they didn't want to discuss anything.
Who is the
And they
title
kept
company
saying that
that
the
you worked
house is
with?
okay, we can't discuss anything. This was at the time, I think it was still Ditech. And then SharePoint took it over. And SharePoint is
Hello, I'm not too sure what happened. The call got dropped, but you were saying ShellPoint took it over. That's the last thing I heard.
and yeah, okay, SharePoint took it over. I think SharePoint's the last one who actually tried to do all that crazy foreclosure stuff last time. I'll check the papers, to make sure, but I'm pretty sure SharePoint was the one that took it over. And then, when we had a buyer for the house, they still didn't want to deal with us. They didn't want to they said that we probably just what we could do. They came up with every excuse they could to not do anything with the house. That's what I've been dealing with for all these time. They just keep, I feel like I'm dealing with my insurance company about my house. Our house, we had a tree come through our house here. We had a 91-year-old oak tree that fell and came to our bedroom. And the insurance company came out and they wrote an adjustment that was laughable. I mean, literally, they said, "Oh, it's like $8,900 for the damage to the house." And I'm like, "We call contractors out." The contractor told me, he said, "It's going to be $10,000 or $12,000 just to do the brick on the outside of the house." He said, "For just the rest of the house, just the brick is going to be $10,000 or $12,000. He said, they looked at their estimate and they went, "I don't know what the insurance company is thinking." And he looked at the damage and he said, "To be honest, just off the top of my head, he said, this is $70,000. And he said, he said, it's going to be $7,000. So you rip all this out, redo, re-insulate, new sheetrock, plumbing, all the stuff that needs to get done. New AC system, new water heaters, all of that. Everything. When the water came in and all that. And he said, only $70,000. On top of that, the tree was so big, if you really want to see, I can send you a picture of it. The tree fell over. One of the branches sticking out the side of the tree planted itself in the ground deep enough that it hit and cracked a concrete septic tank.
Oh shit!
And when I was cutting up the tree, because the insurance wouldn't come out for 3 weeks. The insurance company told me, "No, we can't come out. You're going to have that tree removed before we can even come out." And I should have, when they first told me that, I should have just went to call an attorney right then and there. I should have known better than to even try and deal with the insurance company when they start telling me, from day one, that's what they told me. They didn't come out and we need the truth. When we called contractors to come out, tree people to come out, they had $10 and $12 and $15 and $18,000 to move this tree. I had one contractor give me a price of $10,000. And all he literally was going to do was take a chainsaw and cut it 12 inches off the house. And he wasn't even going to remove anything. He was going to to us to haul stuff off for $10,000. And so I went out, I got everything, I cut the tree. Well, when I cut the tree, the trunk of the tree, it was buried in the ground so deep. But that section of the trunk, when I cut it loose, that section of the trunk stood on its own. It wouldn't fall over.
Wow!
It's huge. The tree trunk was 54 inches in diameter, and I got a picture of it. It looks like yard art, man. It's huge. It's monstrous out in the yard. And yeah, I mean, it just looks like some kind of piece of artwork sticking out of the ground with two big sticks down in and a big chunk of the trunk sticking up there in the air. I could have carved it into something, but when I dealt with the mortgage company, that's the way I feel like dealing with my insurance company. How they basically went from that. They came out, they did this laughable estimate. We started in on, what about this, what about that? And then we started about
Hello?
So
That one was good.
we got a community list of the stuff that was in the one room, Senate room. And they literally paid us like 15 cents,
Like him.
20 cents on the dollar for everything that was in our. And they said, "Oh, but when you go buy new stuff, you send in a receipt for them to invest the money." And I'm like, "You're kidding, right?" And I'm like, "No, that's how it's done." And I'm like, "Okay." And then they told us, "Well, you have to replace everything within 2 years to get your money back."
Oh wow!
You only have 2 years.
Now they give you a time frame.
Oh yeah. The thing we had, So we went out and bought stuff. We bought heavy furniture, we bought clothes, we replaced all our stuff. But we got no place to put it. So it's all in storage. We have to pay for storage. Well, this was in August of 2019. We still don't have a house. We still have a big hole of it. They twisted it on, twisted it on, twisted it on. So every excuse they could possibly come up with. They finally sent out a new adjuster. The new adjuster came out. He looked through everything. He wrote an estimate was like $26,000. Where do you come up with these numbers? And when you look at their stuff, it's like, wait a minute. They did stuff like repaint the bedroom ceiling, but they didn't include replacing the sheetrock, replacing insulation. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute here. There's tons of stuff here you guys left off. Like in our utility room. They put in there to replace the hot water here, but they didn't put in there to replace the furnace and AC, which is all shorted out. So, okay, they did. Don't turn on. Is that the guy here for the. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm going to call you back. I know. I got the safe light replaced my wife's windshield in her car.
Oh, okay, yeah. When's the best time for me to call you back? Maybe like 3 hours?
Yeah, a couple hours. That's good. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.